Cowboys season is about to be over. They are out of the playoff hunt, but they've won some games that some might view as meaningless. They're hurting their draft stock. They may or may not bring back Mike McCarthy. But if you're just a chill guy right now and you're just going to let things play out how they play out, then type C in the Cowboys section, or in the comments section, not just for C for chill, but C for Cowboys. Hit those C's for me right now. Let's talk Jourdan Lewis, who is not a chill guy. He's got that dog in him. Jourdan Lewis continues to play some really damn good football and has been on a heater dating back to the end of last year when he finally was fully recovered from that foot injury and really got going. His play has been very impressive. He's got 61 tackles coming out of the nickel corner spot, 3 TFLs, 1 interception, 7 pass breakups. Now, you look at his coverage stats and you go, 69% completion rate. That's really high. Yes, but no. The yardage is not very high. And Lewis per PFF has 19 stops in coverage. And what normally ends up happening there is you allow 5 yards on 3rd and 7. Who cares? You allowed the catch. You got the stop. It's kind of like success rate. It was a non-successful play that Jourdan Lewis allowed. He's got 7 pass breakups. He's allowed a few touchdowns this year. Jourdan Lewis is allowing 0.98 yards per snap in the slot. That is a top 10 pretty much metric in once you sort of like the qualifying players there. So every snap he's in there for coverage, he's allowing less than a yard per play in the nickel. He is currently, again, for qualifying players, PFF, if you value PFF, their 6th highest graded corner. I want Jourdan Lewis back in 2025. There's several players I've got a lot of interest in finding a way to retain, etc. Jourdan Lewis is very high up on that list. Now, I don't know what the contract cost is going to be. The highest of highest paid nickel corners make around $10 million, and given how little interest there was in Jourdan Lewis this time last year, and given his age and, frankly, some injury concerns you might have too, given his previous past, I don't think he's going to command 10. Does it get to even 7? I don't know, and it'd probably be a multi-year deal. So it's going to be a less than that cap in 2025, but I want to bring him back. I think he is a key part of your defense. I think he's a great leader, too. He fights. He competes. He's got the great mindset. I'm a big fan of his game. So do you agree? Do you want to re-sign Jourdan Lewis? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. The pin comment, especially if the ad comes here on YouTube. Because many of you have asked, we will revisit this here. With the recent play of Cooper Rush in a positive sense, I think it's pretty unlikely that the Dallas Cowboys will make the move to play Trey Lance. I had thought there was a real chance of that if they had lost these last 2 games. They haven't. They've won those games. And Cooper Rush's play has been a big factor in that. For the season, the numbers aren't special. 61.4%, 6.1 yards per attempt is pretty bad. 2-to-1 touchdown to turnover ratio just on the outside of it there. It's not great. But the last 2 games have been some dang good football out of Cooper Rush. 68.8%, 506 passing yards, averaging almost 8 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, 1 turnover. He had the 5th most passing yards in an entire game in his career in the first half against the Bucs. Yes, second half offenses have maybe been a bit of an issue as they stop throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb, and then the offense kind of struggles as a result, which is kind of crazy to think about there. But as much as I understand the desire to see Trey Lance, the potential, the draft pick investment there, it does feel wrong, frankly, in the end, to bench the backup quarterback who is currently playing well. You know, we don't have to make crazy claims about Cooper Rush being a top 15 quarterback or anything, but we can acknowledge, especially the past 2 games, he's played well. And it doesn't negate the entire overall play kind of not being that great from when he started, but if you're going to make the move, you're not going to do it after his best 2-game streak ever. The timing doesn't make any sense if you were going to go down that path, even though the season is over and you're out of the playoff hunt. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Make the holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. That's because they're giving away 2 free picks in December and $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. This is one of my pro football slates for this upcoming batch of games. Rico Dowdle, more than rushing yards. Jared Goff, more than passing yards. And Hunter Henry, more than passing yards. Do the flex play. Only got to get 2 out of 3 right to cash out. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. I want to give some praise to a couple different players, especially in recent weeks. First up is Donovan Wilson, who I had called to be benched, and seems like he took that personally with his play as of late. The past 5 or so games for Donovan Wilson has been significantly better play for the season. He's got 79 tackles, handful of pass breakups, and I am cherry picking here a little bit, and I acknowledge that, but it's recent play that matters. The first 10 games versus Donovan Wilson compared to the last 5 games. Tackle rate's gone up, about 5 per game the first 10. We're up there much higher in the last couple games, above 5 per game. 3 TFLs and a sack in his first 10 games. 2 and 2.5 in the last 5. So again, just double the numbers to get the balancing figures there. 0 forced fumbles, 3 pass breakups, 2 and 2. And he's gone down from 11 missed tackles, again per PFF, to 1. Average PFF grade has gone from 57.7 up over 10 to 68.3. That is much better play. Many times it feels like when Donovan Wilson plays well, the Cowboys' defense plays well because one of your role players, instead of being a potential liability, is an asset. And that's true for a lot of different guys, but it's always felt that way for Dono. And when he's laying the lumber and not being asked to chase George Kittle around, good things tend to happen. He's had a lot fewer yards since they stopped having him try to cover tight ends. And the contract does matter in this conversation because you can cut him if you want to. He's got a $7.37 million cap hit in 2024. That's not that bad, but you can save almost all of that with the release. The base salary is not fully guaranteed. You could restructure him. It's about the $5.35 million base salary this year and save a little bit under $3 million. That pushes more money off in the future. But if you're going to have a guy on the roster, there is a school of thought that says just restructure them because $1 today is worth a lot more than $1 tomorrow in the ever-rising NFL salary cap world. So do you want Donovan Wilson back in 2025? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's video. Let's talk linebacker praise here. With the injuries at linebacker, no DeMarvion Overshown, no Eric Kendricks, in this case, both of them out against the Buccaneers. I think Marist Liufau and Nick Vigil really stepped up and played quite well. Liufau graded out higher on PFF, in part because of the blitzing success he had. 7 tackles, a key pass breakup, 4 pressures, allowed 49 yards in coverage. He was asked to do more challenging coverage stuff than I think Nick Vigil was. Vigil had 10 tackles, a pressure. What makes it impressive to me from Vigil's perspective, he basically doesn't practice right now. He's nursing a foot injury. He's been on a pitch count at practices. It's just like he can play through it, play through the pain. He made some good plays again. And I think this is probably one of Paul Gunther's favorite players ever. It's a big reason why Vigil is here right now. And in a lost season, the play of Liufau is exactly what you want to see. You want to see a potential building block into 2025 showcase his ability. We'll see when DeMarvion Overshown gets back. But I think Liufau can start for you next year. It's only been a 2-game starting sample size, 2 more games to go. Hopefully keep stacking some good games. And if the Cowboys nailed that pick, it's a big deal for Dallas. I wasn't as high on him coming out, but I am very happy to see the way he's played. Happy to say I was wrong so far. Hope he keeps it up. We got more free Cowboys videos for you here, right here on the channel. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Free videos every single day. We won't do one on Christmas this year, but we'll still have extra videos on Tuesday, Christmas Eve, to make up for it. A Dak injury update for you guys. You might have seen pregame or heard pregame. Off the crutches, good sign there. It's mostly good and also expected news overall for Dak Prescott. Here's what Melissa Stark said from the sideline about Dak in her conversation with him. He said he's about a month away from starting to run and move, And right now he's focusing on core and body strength, building muscle in that right leg. He was adamant he'll be fully ready for workouts, off-season workouts, which start in April. This is very different than ESPN's sideline claim that it said 8-month recovery, which never made any sense. That's not the injury timeline for that type of injury. Something got lost in translation. I think it may have been a 8-week recovery without the surgery, and then that got contorted into 8, and they didn't think it was weeks, and they said months, and that didn't make any sense. This timeline, back well before off-season workouts in April, makes a lot more sense because it's not that different than the Tyron Smith injury, and he was able to come back later, but the timing wasn't really as good versus preseason versus in-season for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. But good news on that front.